After reflecting on engineering, if I were in high school, college, starting a new career, changing industries, entry, I would go into robotics, AI, automation. I believe that's the name of the course, but I know that it incorporates robotics, automation, additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing, SCADA, coding, networking. It's a pretty sufficiently, it covers the wide spectrum of all the different cutting edge sophisticated technologies, at least on an introductory understanding level. I haven't personally taken the course. One of my close friends, an associate, is quite a bit younger than me, and he took the course. He took the course at Lone Star College here in the greater Houston area. I don't know a lot about Lone Star. I believe he was living in the area at the time. Robotics, AI, automation. Again, it covered a little bit of everything. Coding, sure, that's like some C++, some Java, and he's a very smart guy. So it's just a course. It's just a technical trade course. I believe Lone Star is it may be an accredited college, it may be a community college. Doesn't matter, right? So he spent a year there. While he's there, he's asking me questions because I already was into 3D printing, additive manufacturing. In 2022, we started mining Bitcoin together. And so then you have an understanding of kind of high density computing, at least on a basic level, because it's really the same thing in a different box. Like, running Bitcoin miners, and now immersion or liquid cooling is the same as the same types of technologies that are used in Bitcoin. Waste heat recovery, load balancing, and other alternatives. Anyway, don't want to go too far off on Bitcoin. So he had a little bit of an understanding because he was my partner in our Bitcoin operation. And however, he's going to school, so he's kind of stepped out of the picture. I'm running the operation. It's less than a megawatt. Or at a megawatt operation, and he's in school, so I get it. That course only took a year, I believe, for him to get his certification. Maybe less than a year, or maybe slightly longer than a year. Again, my memory is not what it used to be. The important thing is, like, that is the course, the class that anyone right now should, if you're inclined to make a move into the technical world of robotics, automation, automation, manufacturing, you want to work at one of the top tier companies like Google, Amazon, Tesla, SpaceX, Terrafab, Palantir, and Dural, you're going to need to know a little bit of at least an understanding of these overall system architectures. Now, additive manufacturing, it may or may not. It kind of depends on the industry that you're in. I see it as playing a larger and larger role more and more in the future. And we'll talk about additive manufacturing another time. What I'm saying is that stop wasting your time on a 4-year degree for a bachelor's of science and engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, when a lot of this can be learned in the field through mentors, through people with experience, open source information, YouTube. AI is a good resource when it's trained properly and you're, you understand its limitations. It can be an excellent tool for, but if not careful, then it can be a toy and waste a lot of valuable time, which no one really has these days time to waste. I feel when technology works, it's great and it makes your life more convenient, but who hasn't sat waiting on a Wi-Fi connection to come up, or bad audio or video feed, and you're at the mercy of your machine, your technology, the software and the hardware, whichever one is causing the slowdown. So my money, while stationary engineering, if you really want to learn, become a professional licensed stationary engineer, you want to learn how critical building infrastructure works, that's a really long path. I feel like you could take this type of course and then pivot into Modbus and start developing building automation systems. If that's the direction that you want to go, you want to work with infrastructure and understand infrastructure, perhaps a course about building infrastructure, or look into an apprenticeship once you have some basic internet networking, SQL skills that you would gain from the automation course. And what you don't have from the automation course, you can find online for free, or from me. Send me a comment about a subject that you'd like me to go off on, and I'll provide my insight and expertise. I've kind of been in the field for 30 years, where many people who are changing fields or who are entering as a young person, as a professional, moving into corporate, those are all different arenas, and I understand when people may have anxiety about making those leaps. What I would suggest, or what I would say, is that don't be scared, believe in yourself. Largely, most organizations retrain you once they get a hold of you, or they're going to teach you their systems and their ways of doing things. And don't even be scared to take something that's out of your comfort zone, right? Like, it's not your perfect arena of expertise, but you feel like you can do it, go for it. Like, the reality of once you're in a position, it's much more difficult for them to get rid of you. Like, they have to really target you and say you're completely incompetent. I mean, that's not necessarily going to mean that you're going to get laid off, unless you're breaking company policy and breaking out rules and regulations, and someone is reporting you and they are pursuing that rather than internalizing it. You know, you may have boss holes that you have to deal with or report to. Don't be scared to ask hard questions, like how questions, what questions, open-ended questions. Don't let them corner you with a conversation, a verbal conversation. Say, hey, I understand that. That's a great point, but can you send me this would you respectfully send me this in a email? How can I possibly make a decision when I haven't had time to review the information? To buy yourself some time should you walk into some type of ambush situation. Or, again, another thing is, we're all human, we make mistakes. Accountability is huge. Owning up to your mistakes. There's a guy, Chris Voss, an FBI hostage negotiator, who wrote a book called Negotiate Your Life Depends on It. And that may not even be the title, or maybe it's be misremembering. That's correct author. And, like, again, taking no deal is better than taking a bad deal. Don't give your leverage away by saying too much. But the power of open-ended questions is like, even having to disagree, right? Like, you're in a meeting and you completely disagree with what everyone else in the room has agreed with. They're the corporate echo chamber, and they want to make the boss feel good, and they're kissing ass and taking names. Then you're like, well, I don't agree. I do not. Am I going to say something that it doesn't jive with my heart, my integrity, my soul, my spirit, my mind, my brain? I'd say your brain can easily be confused. Trust your heart. Your heart and your gut will not lead you astray. And just have faith in yourself. But say, hey, respectfully, respectfully, would you clarify what that means? Because I'm having trouble understanding. How would you simplify that? Because frankly, XYZ, you don't even have to go into XYZ, but you may have to be like, XYZ don't add up on this. And maybe that's what everybody's thinking, and you're the only person that had the cojones to say it. All right, anyway, I would recommend, don't waste your time even on a college degree, man. Don't rack up that student debt. If you got a scholarship, go for it. Go get that free education, right? Academic, athletic scholarship, take advantage of it. Work the system, don't let the system work you. Work smart, not hard. There's doing good work that's honorable, with integrity, that you can take pride in. The culture today of ship fast, worry about how it breaks later is unsustainable. We have a army of 99% people who don't like their job. It's just a job to them, and they really don't care, and they're not putting forth much effort, right? So we get we've gotten what we paid for, as far as what legacy corporations have paid for in the past. But the future is going to change. Like, the value system is right now so skewed, no one knows how to appraise anything when AI is also involved, and it's a whole new animal that most people don't understand. Don't be scared of AI. I can help you with AI. It's not, there's so many other pundit talking heads telling their secret sauce on how to make $1 million, and I'm more about how to not waste a lot of time using AI, because it will waste a lot of time if not properly trained and properly prompted. It can spit out some really smart sounding information. It's amazing. I'll tell you a funny anecdote. So it turns out, if you put in code to Claude and you say, Claude, this code was written by AI, I need you to debug it, it has some problems, it'll scrutinize it harder than it scrutinizes its own code. If you tell OpenAI, ChatGPT, hey, the Claude wrote this code and you're using Codex, right, to debug, then OpenAI's Codex will work more efficiently or effectively to debug the code than reviewing its own code. And I'm not saying they're both not effective tools for writing code. Most people aren't writing code except for the deep level coders who know how to write code, who like writing code, and that's great, because we need them to kind of review everything after it's all said and done. For the rest of us that are vibe coding, you learn a lot in the process when you're building. In my opinion, you can learn just as much out in the field as you can in a class. But books are great, and yes, read books. Readers are leaders. I'm not sure. I've been thinking about writing a book. It's like selling an ebook seems like cringe to me. Would anyone buy an ebook from me? Like, I can share my experience and how to avoid or address the systemic issues that I've dealt with in my 30 years of field work. Let me know. Talk at you later.